7 times a line in hopes to call upon and find Christ. I walk circles 7 times a line in hopes to call upon and find Christ. I walk circles 7 times a line in hopes to call upon and find Christ. I walk circles 7 times a line in hopes to call upon and find Christ. I walk circles 7 times a line in hopes to call upon and find Christ. I walk circles 7 times a line in hopes to call upon.
Walls are a little higher now. 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 Walls are a little.
Chemical experiment on black and Puerto Rican soldiers during World War II. Bombs tested on those already surrendered. Injecting syphilis into the arm at Tuskegee. Turning Puerto Rico into an island of army bases and tobacco slavery. The Philippines once flourished before Spain and the U.S. drained its economy. Africa's natural resources vastly depleted by U.S. occupation. Venezuela's independence threatened by the envious. We are equipping Israel with tools for Palestinian genocide. We, the ones trained, the same men that plotted 9/11. Those like Rumsfeld stuttering and accurate truths. Beware not-so-secret societies, Western puppetry, media propaganda technique.
Is poised to fulfill the historic vision of its founders.
It is a big idea.
Oh dear, everything is so confusing.
The televised will tell her lies in order to crucify the dream she once had. Growing bad. Falling into a hole while chasing a rabbit gone mad-hatted bad. Swallowing pills that made her feel bigger than the person she once was. An angel that fell from heaven. Until hell had its way with her. Now just another harlot that sold her virtues for protection against the lynch mobs, making everyone their Frankenstein monster. These self-appointed masters fighting against racism while judging everyone else. Defending freedoms, but only the freedoms they can agree with. Fighting fascism with fascism. Speaking out against a war while playing war. Turning beautiful cities into filthy wastelands. Erasing a history today's professors rarely teach man the statue of a man. His story never truly read. Never to read about the blood that statue once bled. And now, you got these corporations paying off Marxist groups, ever so willingly assisting in their own deconstruction. So-called rebels birthing and serving the stems of a government's corruption, fighting against the same citizens they claim to speak for, tearing down walls while putting up walls while locking their doors. What they once fought for is what they now fight, practicing the rights they helped destroy, sacrificing soon-to-be forgotten children through downplayed inner-city random shootings, trying to kill the same men, put there to protect them. A fatherless nation, an army of misguided bastards, an overworked mother who went insane and transferred her sickness to her own offspring. A revolutionary holds a gun backwards. Every misfire kills another part of him. Without politics, there is no racism. A past we should have learned from, being silenced by today's destroyer. Head held high, tripped over easy-to-see unseen bullshit. Pampered infants trapped in adults' bodies, lied to, that were blind to true acts of compassion and love. Killing those just trying to help, participating in the preparation of their own funeral, being led by shepherds who were seduced by wolves, offering their children to the pack, equipped with horse vision only to see race, taught to look away from self-destruction, except it's the only game left to play.
Everything is so confusing.
Those over-politicized teach prolicide, step back on the side and laugh at the genocide committed in pocketed perimeters. As one enters this deadly game, they are stripped of their identity, then beat until they stereotypically fall tame under the thumb of those in the shadows watching our world decrease. Oh, say, can you see? Oh, say, I see, burning our cities, destroying our history, killing our gods and taking their place. Devil got you right where he wants you. Lawless, unkempt, angry, human touch outlawed, enforced with invisible fear of disease. Those alone remain alone and only find company in the streets while gathering and forming Babylon's choir. The fall of a once great empire, being replaced by streets drenched in piss, and the sick holding up signs while stepping in their own shit. Talking points and misquoted lines construct unusual language to where people can't even understand themselves. And without knowing who they are, without following their own heart, they will follow and do exactly as they are told. Taught to resist and not to build. No solid structure, a weak foundation. In Babel they babble, imitating cattle. Strangers that are strangers to themselves. Speaking in tongues of incoherent noises with no meaning. Dreaming memories of movies. No identity of their own to see. We were stolen from ourselves and given to those we gift with a great, rich comfort. We were supposed to be the spectator, but those televised revolutions soon became entertainment for Hollywood. The script by Hollywood. The idiots like us were brought into. The idiots like us bought into. The idiots like us helped make come true. Got mind fucked, gang raped, inhaled through subliminal fumes. Pressured by influential goons. Focusing on mythical, infamous, iconic, triggering figures like Soros and Gates. But it was us that did this to ourselves. We have become our own poison, abandoning our own life purpose. And the worst is, we allow this. We make this. We employ it. We build it. Then destroy it. Monkey see, monkey do. Following every rule. Scripted by the news. Lifted up by fools yanking that noose. Influenced by movie script of motion pictures. As we burn our own scriptures, we find ourselves supporting the same people that are not supporting us. Triggered by those triggered, paying no mind to the man with the blindfold behind us.
You went that way. Who did?
There are those crying about those, tearing down those statues of those that we previously already erased from our daily lives yesterday. And today, we cry as we try to remember what their stories were anyways. To remember who we were in the first place. Hard to remember when we erased our own name and danced to the rhythm of pipers and snakes. The art to manipulate, the art to forsake. Selling ourselves as sampled beats. They remixed our own heartbeats. We have forgotten how to love. Today's compassion is just acting. We believe in this script. We leave our own scripture. The televised will tell her lies in order to crucify the dream she once had. Growing mad, falling down deeper into that hole while following, chasing a rabbit gone mad, had her mad. What's televised will tell her lies and cellarize a different picture. One the naked eye can't see without TV. For when you tell those free they are not, then eventually they will believe, putting chains on their own feet. What will it take to free you from them, as in they, those who stole your happiness with sins individuals commit, helping pollute the world with their ugliness? The only ones we should resist are the ones trying to tear us apart, getting into our heads and fucking with our hearts. Instead of criticizing, fighting, and dividing, how about uniting, coming together, standing together, demanding we no longer be pitted against each other.
Here, can tell me the way to go home?
Alice is chained, but she holds the key. They just never taught her how to use it. For with freedom, they can no longer sell her. With movement, she won't be trapped in this one. Without weights, her wings will expand. Her dreams will expand. Her world will expand. Her horizons will begin to stretch. Her possibilities limitless, endless. Her spirit relentless. Alice, sweet Alice, she finally begins to exist. She finally steps out of the shadow of an imaginary master.
If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what it is, it wouldn't be.
Beyond the pale.
They're gonna put you all back in chains. A democracy against democracy. A kingdom with no king. An angel without wings. A chorus of banshees sing. The a timely demise of a voyage, the cries of those drowning. Slave ships escorted back the previous master. We have learned to read backwards to the 0 chapter. A question without answer, a joke with no laughter. A madman seated upon the throne, declaring war upon his own. He began to speak a peace while those that bend the knee get swallowed by the beast.
Okay, let me respond. I've gotta go.
Same scientists that manufactured this virus are the same telling us how to fight it. Some of the same we trust are the same that helped infect us. Some of the same we love are the same who have been trained to hate us, to paint us as the enemy we never knew, to frame us for the wars they have always fueled, religiously gathering before their TV, falling to their knees, placing both hands upon the screen and memorizing every word from the script another reads.
We have no
The
choice
death of a black
but
man
to
who
take
died
them
in
out
police
of
custody
society.
in
Predators
Minneapolis.
on our streets.
Burning tempers, burning flags, burning buildings, silencing voices, limiting choices, destroying dreams, distributing vaccines, submitting to new eugenics. May cause side effects such as dizziness, memory loss, loss of freedom. This will help us forget who we once were. This will cause wealthy businessmen to believe they are all leaders, barking orders, offering bribes to incoherent leaders with feeble minds and broken spines. Statism in full effect, picking off one county at a time. Idea, suggestion, ordinance, pandemic, martial law, obey, no question. Ruled by carefully selected scientists. We are the experiment, like monkeys, like rabbits, like mice. Citizens forcing citizens to comply. Just watch how we turn against each other, silencing each other until we eventually begin to cut out our own tongues. What have we become? A cult of followers, seeking acceptance, seeking justification, seeking advice, seeking some sort of vice to help us heal. We are wounded, polluted minds, poor sight, fractured hearts, and empty spirits. Some are still trying to hold on, others have lost it all. Victims are siding with the executioner, sharpening their axes for them. Yesterday's victims are today's bullies. Yesterday's oppressed practice new age supremacy, and still the killer wears the mask of the victim and cries for more. Forgotten messages of Christ ignored. Today we isolate ourselves and build our own cages. Many are lost in fiction. Many are using county ordinances to shame others for civil disobedience. This is not all about safety but opportunity. The opportunity to act out of control, the opportunity to control. As citizens separate, they are easily conquerable. When a citizen loses everything, they are forced to seek help, swallow pride, and obey. Every time we catch a glimpse of truth, it is censored, disproved, and removed. Said to be propaganda by actual authors of propaganda. Children are being fed the forbidden, while the adults are being held hostage by Disney. Socially, we are distanced but brought together by TV. And when we actually make it outside, we are more alone than ever before. Head to the floor, our eyes locked on cellular slander. Minute-to-minute updates uploaded by big tech programmer. Strangers tell each other only what they think the other wants to hear. We once shared ideas, now we only share posts. We once had culture, now all I see is cult. We once had a voice, now we are told not to question the vote. I still believe and I still hold hope, but why's it got to be such a heavy rope? We are losing our identities. We are forgetting exactly who we are supposed to be. Now the only smiles I see are on TV. The 0 chapter.
Back in chains. Let's get something straight. Back in chains. Let's get something straight. Let's get something straight. They're gonna put you all back in chains. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond to here.
Conspiracy theory of relativity of fact. Careful who you target, careful with that axe. We're running down a rabbit hole, there's no turning back. Attacked by rabid moles and assholes burning flags. Antifa meet anti-cult, uncontrolled and thought controlled. Time to let your hatred go, because deep down I truly know. This is not our temple. Not our temple. They are not our gods. Not our gods. One nation, handing in their freedom for false feeling of safety. Armies, her crisis actors acting up for the camera. Simple minds blind to the true enemy, gonna sell you a false reality through the TV. If you begin to question what it is you see, going to come after you and your entire family. Transparency has caused members of our government to panic. We are making them rich due to our love of our own ignorance, like moles trapped in rabbit holes, like lost souls stuck in limbo. We become piggy banks for think tanks, getting caught up in blame games, distracted by riots they call parades, until that marching band reaches their front door. Just imagine if the government protected the average American like they do the fellow members of government. This is not what we were ever supposed to be. Never thought I'd see this society serving those that should be serving you and me. Private companies swearing their allegiance to the powers that be, silencing all voices, limiting all choices, shackling weights to all feet, new age slaves to the elite. Propaganda will curb that fighting spirit. Entertainers will distract with song and dance, follow the bouncing ball off the roof, make it seem a suicide, patriotism demonized, anarchy idolized. Then by tomorrow, a new show, another scripted movement, one more dramatic story, and nothing to show for it but more restricted movement. Angels clipping their own wings, mutes believing they can sing, blind men tell me what they see. A society supporting censorship, handing in their freedom for false feeling of safety. I be the anti, whatever you wanna call me. Honky, massa, privilege, cracker, plain old whitey. Why me to blame for the downfall of so-called gods? Assume responsibility, self-accountability. Don't speak until you remove that mask that silenced you. The fear they placed in you paced you to your living room, got you to stay in place, limit view and paste horse vision through television, programming you. Eco-terrorist and bad actor activists, climate changes and views of true racists. Erase this simplistic bullshit, rise above this drawn out script. Exists as you and not the you they tell you to be. Become the you only you can see. You can kill most disease simply by turning off the TV. I can still remember when we used to disagree in peace, before the wrath of red and blue beasts. Democracy, aka thought police, only allowed to speak what they whisper. You will repeat. Truth is a forbidden fruit to get you kicked off, signed off, laid off, exiled, and nowhere no one hears words, only alarms, clocks, bombs, instructions for a new world. Walls closing in closer than ever before, larger obstacles, locked doors, less love, threats from above, from those from below, no longer in hiding their sin, the new fashion, skin, blankets, skull, glasses, powerful men burning effigies, but bundles of sticks. Don't scream, don't lie to me, don't try to tell me or sell me, help me understand man's humility. One nation that hands in their freedom for false feeling of safety to the same elected officials that endanger our species. We are seen as game piece, as primitive beasts they try to tame, train, paint, leash around necks of yesterday's victims. What's next but a reprise of yesterday's victims? Back the blue, but only when they back you. Don't walk into that cage they made for you. Don't cry wolf if you are part of the pack. Don't blame sheep if you wear the same wool. Where, what, who, why so many questions if you don't want to hear the answer? Why penalize one who questions trying to tell you the answer? Why serve man and challenge God's word? Rambling in tongue, senseless and absurd. I was born of blood and freedom. I was taught to be who I am, and now I'm told to reverse. But the past is dead, and only in dreams do I time machine to teenage romance and lost adventures, and what could have happened if we weren't taught so well to hate each other, to hate ourselves. We gave ourselves to the highest bidder, slave ourselves to bad health. We work harder to support those lazier, and for this we must rebel. One nation handed in freedom for feeling of safety. They gave the illusion of security, but left our vulnerability out in the open for all to see. Our forces grow weak, our words told not to speak, our sight directed by the TV, our thoughts blocked if they disagree, tongues cut out, eyes blindfolded, ears covered, mouths masked, hands cuffed, feet chained, insane, boxed in. One nation be traded in. One nation betraying one's people.
I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there.
A culture plagued by numbers, conjuring dark forces, dancing, beckoning, summoning, returning to a home that's not yours. A new world wrapped in an old world's chains. A man that claims to be free. A man that owes a great debt. A man owned by invisible threats. Crying for the right he agrees with. Fighting against the right he disagrees with. Materialistic women had given birth to serpents that are feeding on potential messiahs in a playground. A world has demonized a good-hearted martyr. Shortly after, dark societies crowned the next host. An elder infected by many demons. Legion of the 21st century. Your children are not safe. A gray cloud cast over this nation and now remains stagnant. Those against us back in control. Those with us denied parole. All Paul Revere's are now silenced and rotting in prison. Julian Assange and Edward Snowden tried to warn us what was coming moments before the Queen gave that order. Runaways and missing children are considered to be delicacies of this dark elite, trying to find a way to find forever and escape the day they will be forced to answer for all their endeavors, crimes, and sins against God, trying to abort the second coming and close the door to what will be coming for them. Epstein's death did not mark the end. There are more islands undiscovered, more victims unidentified, more cries unheard. Primetime viewers having their principles reversed by warlocks, self-mutilators, and practices of the dark arts, making way through television to living rooms, into your hearts. Those calling themselves good people are erecting steeples that are abominations against God. Media masquerades rapists as romanticists, devils as saints, and paints a paradise that does not exist within the exact coordinates that lockdown subordinates are thrown into. Overruled whips snap to the rhythm of the blues. Cars no longer running on fuel but running off you. Our energy is being transferred to objects as we become easily replaceable objects to members of a government believing they are gods. A man believing he is a god is spiritually lost, caught within the realm of imaginary supernatural entities, false deities of the disease, constructed in concrete, cold hard, godless cities where beasts feed off the weak and bleed warriors, showing sheep the difference between patriots in the street and loyalists awaiting further instructions before their TV while loyally bending the knee, causing submission to be the latest trend. We are not here to serve our government. They are not our masters. They are not our heroes. We are the people, not meant to conform, born from the very ideology of individual freedom, now scorn for beliefs slightly differing from theirs. They say they fight, they say they care. They do not come for us. They are coming for us. The powers that be, now targeting speech, information, visuals, trying to overreach far past their boundaries. Mere words, images, thoughts become criminal. All hail the secret police. Men become heroes. Freedom has a higher fee. Fact becomes rewritten. A Bible of opinions. A machine called Dominion. Children be the real victim, awaiting a future with no recollection of the actual past. If we don't act now, this may be the last time before that clock forever stops and we are stuck on standby, standing still as they make the next move, thinking they're only coming after me when the target has always been you. What to do when you're caught in the crossfire, waking up the crossfires.
of a new world order, new world, of a new world order, new world order.
Medical workers withheld treatment for hundreds of unsuspecting black men infected with syphilis.
Of a new world order, new world order.
The first doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine have been distributed across the U.S.
Of a new world order.
There may be some restrictions that may be placed on people that don't have vaccines.
Where's your freedom now? How you must feel when your new master sells you to those you never knew. Stepping out to the shadow, holding yesterday's crumbling puppet in their arms, sliding off palms, letting go, feeding your superhero to the fire. He promised you the world. Now, how to ever get it back?
I'm back in chains. I'm back in chains. I'm back in chains. I'm back in chains.
Started seeing rappers put on their own chains. Their DJs picked up flutes, produced hypnotic beats fused into soundtracks heard through hallways and schools. Watch these fools, they wanna be just like you, but they don't know you. Still trying to find themselves within the walls of a system that doesn't freely welcome change until it can be used to keep all of you exactly where they want you. Individuality is a remake, replicas of once originals under the influence of undercover agents of the state. Mind control, self-hate, subliminal, instigate, initiate, gentrificate, stronghold, control, remold criminal into hero. Just stop thinking, but look at that dance, but look at the percentage master gets. No freestyle on the master track. Who's singing on that track? On train tracks, they got caught now on the side of the road, prettying up the scenery and making more road with nowhere to go. No home, no foundation, only broken souls with misspoken voices. They singing in code, screaming for change, for underground train stations. Change the station. No matter how you paint the pain, song remains the same. Old man on the street holding up a cup of jingling change was once a young man in jingling chains. New man proudly displayed on stage, putting on his own chains. Once that old man was displayed on a stage in the same kind of chains, then sold for change and taken away. His future auctioned off, his legacy remembered, revised, retold, re-edited, now reenacted. Once we surpassed this, so why can't we get past this? Whose past is this? Now the past is today. Hope and change, ropes and chains, sold for change, stole some chains, now back and change the channel. Different setting, same story. He tried to tell his but suffered from writer's block. Individual thoughts on an auction block. Change the station. The revolution was televised, but evolution will be kept off the air. Catch your breath, deeper than depth, louder than death. Television sets traps for dreamers with programs about not being free till they believe in it. I am fiction, god of the ants, ruling an invisible planet. No more strange than old man that thinks he's running the country, never walking in our shoes. Just a con man confused, a yes man that won't refuse. Another reason for us to sing the blues, just super flexible like silly putty. They got those old bones contorted like Picasso paintings and stick figure doodles on desk in the Oval Office. Get me off this game board. Why rest in peace only to live in war? Let's balance out this script of characters portraying caricatures. Change the station. Once others closed eyes and looked away. Now they watch every moment. Now they close minds to different narratives, covering ears, opposing voices, illiterate to any other's word. Only those most absurd deliver the message, lost in translation, lost in a bottle. The downfall of sobriety, rebirth of the irrational, logic replaced with raw emotion, hot temper trapped inside of a burning building, city in chaos. Yesterday's oppressor encourages more of this kind of behavior, preventing restoration of desperately to be forgotten broke down palaces of poverty, blocking achievement, stopping success from reaching too far into this community. Ill-gotten powers that be, mocking anyone that overcomes and sets themselves free. Ill-gotten powers that be, gotta keep making these sheep angry, gotta keep acting like they care, soon to criminalize the same heavily addictive substance they once pushed under the guise of saving lives. But by criminalizing the same heavily addictive substance they once pushed under the guise of saving lives, they are criminalizing those same lives overnight. Those in the shadows take notes, hijacked countercultural movements, spread anti-Western propaganda, sent out others to enrage the actual patriots. Media played he said, she said, both sides being assembled and strategically placed. Other sides started to arise. Now shit flies from every side. Destruction of faith, pride, family, and so on. Sheltering the lawless, doxing the innocent. Something is spreading from mindset to mindset, doing its best to prevent unity from ever occurring. Citizens mowing down officers with automobiles. A malicious media causes a trained public to feel for the lawless they portray as the true victim. None of us truly understand what's going on, but we sit here creating memes. We sit here with knee-jerk reactions. We sit here speaking of something that we are too stubborn to admit we don't understand, too scared to admit we don't know what's going on. We must resist this allegiance. We must question this administration that is against peace but wearing its mask. Be wary of the days to come. Keep vigilant. There is a lot of good out there, but there is also a lot of good that is being manipulated into thinking that their own brothers and sisters are against them. They are using color, lifestyle, mindset, anything they can gain control of. Sheep led astray in these states of decay. Do not fall onto the game board. Do not become a part of their miniature war. Do not mold yourself into one of their tiny plastic soldiers. Fight back by not fighting. Us lunging at each other's throats is exactly what they want. Be forewarned. Show them we are stronger than this. We seem to live in a world where dead loved ones become winning lottery tickets. Only the best funeral, but not always the best life. Love in past tense. Turn off the TV.
As we make the world healthier, 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 as we make the world healthier.
Syphilis was a cultural embarrassment.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
People. Cultural embarrassment.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
People. Cultural embarrassment.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
People. Cultural embarrassment.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
People should get vaccinated
to participate in the experiment.
People. As we make the world healthier.
Nearly all of them were poorly educated, impoverished sharecroppers.
From Tuskegee.
Deplorables.
As we make the world healthier.
There's no evidence of that for this vaccine yet. Certainly, when Pfizer released their clinical trial information, the adverse events were reported. There was nothing serious. I'll go on and say there were deaths in the clinical trial.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
People.
4 participants in the Pfizer vaccine trial and 4 participants in Moderna's trial did experience Bell's palsy, which in its simplest form causes the face to droop.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
People.
In Pfizer's trial, all 4 participants who experienced Bell's palsy received the COVID vaccine.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
As we make the world healthier.
However, in Moderna's trial, 3 participants who experienced Bell's palsy got the vaccine, 1 got the placebo. Dr. Elizabeth Ransom with Baptist Health says that should not deter anyone from getting the vaccine.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
And so what we need to do is take this age generosity and this innovation and go into those places, offer the women better tools where they want to space birthing or have a smaller family size.
We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate.
Why don't you just go ahead and do it?
As we make the world healthier, as we make the world healthier, as we make the world healthier, is the population going to get so big that feeding everybody and maintaining the environment is going to be impossible.
What they really did is they showed what our system is built on, which is that our system is just so vulnerable to influence by competing financial and other misguided influences. And those influences, they lead into these crazy actions that we can't make sense of.
People should get vaccinated.
What to do when humanity turns their back on you, when society deems you the fool, when girls won't date you, when you've opened your eyes to truth and people are mad at you for looking at it because it's not what they want you to believe in. They'd rather be force-fed daily instructions by alien reports as we are under abduction. Dare not stand in the way and question this new age oppression they set in motion. They are killing us and promising an anecdote already boxed up and prepared for shipment. They want to erase your memory and replace it. They want to replace success with enslavement. Devils lurk in so-called savior's shadow. Blue and red pills never meant to be swallowed. Freedom takers and freedom fighters in need of resolution. Only problems twisted bodies of power ever solve with final solutions. We are living a reprisal of World War II. Antifa brown shirts and corona COVID-tyvis like yellow stars. Those that resist the resistance are thrown in institutions. Flocks of sheep accept this. They accept this mask to control what you breathe. Capture spoken dream. Keep words meant for others from reach. Stifle speech. These masks be verbal blindfolds. There are many that see with their mouths, for as they begin to speak, their visions come into existence. And now what they see, silently imprisoned. Mask mumblers, no one understands each other. Reconstructing Tower of Babel, forgotten Bible. Not many understand what they should. Now ancient history is being used against them. War criminals abuse Bethlehem. Terrorism exists only when it's convenient. Only reported when it's convenient. But Paris is still burning. If we were to expose every mark of the beast, many of us would be walking paintings of Satan, demons screaming for what we destroy. We are play toys to the men believing they are gods. We master no destiny, only family dog. Our thoughts are not our thoughts but recordings. We are parakeets that chirp another's absurd ramblings. We speak but no longer understand what we are saying. Watching unplugged televisions, reading wordless books. Our soundtrack is silence. Our world peace is genocidal violence. We fight freedom, strengthen chains. On flags we paint steel bars over stripes. Grand division, unity forgotten, community forgotten. Dead children forgotten, a crackhead remembered. Buildings get Septembered by peaceful arsonists caressing the flames, burning American dreams. From the smoke come revision visions from overseas. Bullies target pacifists. They pacifist to get to women with open hands and beat them. Women beaten by Me Too supporters. News reporters justify disorder only to aim camcorder at her husband fighting back. Those that attack get a free pass. Caught in a field of chess, we are only but the game piece for shadow beasts. Shadownet, maybe more than conspiracy. Reality is not a theory, or is it? Is life hallucination or existence? Disposable to classified blueprints, top secret, but can you hear it? Can you hear the whispers? Can you feel the serpent slither? Oily, oozy words off forked tongues into your minds that control your lungs. Make it seem a suicide, make it seem a COVID case. Make another cold case, grab another cold one, son, and learn not to question online schooling. Many failing social skills, messages drilled in honor students, forbidden to ask questions, told to answer questions already solved by biased networks, re-illustrating facts, remolded with feelings, reworded by agendas. Tech giants terrorize small isolated rural towns, dumbing down their populations with proper propaganda to be argued at Sunday night dinner tables. Destroying families is what the godless do best. The compassion for strangers, replacing connection with loved ones. Society becomes the stalker that falls for the actress, the prepubescent girl that drools over the poster of a manufactured teen icon. False idols and a truth exiled and a job lost and another soul bought. Caught by the mangled web weaved out of desperation. Obtained belief through manipulation. Fear of annihilation. We no longer to fight back but fall back. Watch it all collapse. Watch self-enslaved slaves laugh at disasters and attack comedians and attack anyone or anything they are trained to. Learning institutions become blueprints for Satan's army. Time to fight behind the armory of God as the sinners we are. Making our beds in repentance as we tend to our own backyard, keeping the strays out. Everything that should be changed is business as usual for the average idiot shouting from scripts within herds of human cattle controlled by the true oppressor. And if you think this is about color, you better adjust the contrast to see the dead skin she slides out of, the shadow of a weak man she feeds off of. Like succubus, this story is writing itself. I am only one instrument and no author. I challenge no god but the man that believes he knows her. From caves, we made mangers, blind by purified consciousness, only seen through a mortal's eyes, blind to the speed of light, unable to truly dissect every frame from our retinas. Our eyes are pupils studying life. We are no teacher, we are only students grouped together in class projects, far from God's kingdom. Your glass house mansions mean nothing if your words mean nothing. If you sing senseless songs and try to sound profound through interviews, you speak of subjects you were a slave to. Your auto-tune is untuned. Your truth is untruth. Puppets should cut their strings if they are a part of a children's puppet show. For these kids are the last ones you should ever lie to. The last ones you should ever abuse. Phoenix, rising over bullshit. liquor stores and smoke shops across from schools, a coloring book of idiots eating their crayons, the end of a story with no conclusion, the fragment of an elevated existence. In return for our hard labor, some of us have been granted boxes that come with plenty of toys to pass the time by, and 4 walls preventing us from seeing sons rise and daughters lie on their backs for extra spending money. Hostility, a series of mass shootings, every shot fired, an alarm clock for sleeper cells, puppet masters, theater. If you want to know what's going on, then turn off the TV and step outside. We must learn to sing our own song instead of having another's memorized. We have been abandoned by leaders that swore to protect us, partners that devoted an undying love to us, a thought of what God meant to us. A stranger's words become our prayer. They had successfully found a way to make free men bow before them and believe they were taking a stand. A walking dead president, a juror's decision without evidence, lessons in obedience, lessons confidence, and greatens dominance of an empire that has started to devour itself. A meeting of Congress, a banquet of cannibals, a crowd of citizens. They are angry but can't tell you why. Dull talking points and sharpened pocket knives. Social media, once meant to bring family and friends together, now tearing them apart, starts with crumbling our very foundation, then breaking our hearts until there are very few feelings left, only sadness and momentary happiness. What's left? Confusion, frustration, great desperation, the tightrope between genius and insanity, a walk into madness, blues of the day, black of night, lost within, afraid of what's outside, fearing boogeymen that don't exist, and trusting in the wrong strangers. Movements belittled by profiteers, a prophet's tears drips God blood. It goes into fresh soil, it grows a tree producing rotten fruit, soon to wave a noose, forming beast with a hangman's tail. Throughout these strange times we must prevail, priest and rabbi with a handful of nails, government lies, war crimes, sacrifice, the violation of human rights, so many victims getting harder to turn a blind eye. Men of peace must answer for the blood they have spilt. Keepers of the peace must answer for why they are at war with us. The powerless keep feeding the powerful while they can no longer afford to keep feeding themselves. The fear of a looming disease has created an unspoken epidemic of mental illness. They have found a breaking point in many of us. People are struggling, falling like dominoes, like trees, like tears, like towers, like once great empires. In this race against time, karma is catching up, and many of us have no answers to give. Misled, fed the wrong instructions. Hero versus martyr, the devil's bidding. What are we doing? Where are we going? The answer is obvious. The answer is not found in us. We are being pressured into not asking questions, distracted by fractured lives of our forever fallen idols we never lose faith in. The Antichrist of Hollywood, demons in the playground, angels imprisoned, the word of God banned, replaced with snake oil salesmen, selling our souls to men, enlisted in an unspoken draft, thrown into a war with ourselves. Our fall from grace, our Father trying to save us. They keep digging further, He keeps reaching. Hands up, reform, resist, repent, rewrite the greatest story never told. There are crosses on the wall placed there to remind us of what happens when we succeed in breaking their illusion and truly tapping in.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people.
I feel very sorry for the innocent people that were killed in the United States of America. But Iraq has nothing to do with these events.
On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war.
People began to feel that Iraqi people are the leader of this monster who wants to destroy the whole world. Actually, the real monster is America itself.
20 years ago, we didn't want to believe in the betrayal of our own government. We wanted to believe in their honesty. Many held no questions, only demanded action. We wanted revenge, and somehow we believe we are the only nation on earth that ever deserved it. Hypocrites by nature, followers by choice. We have a voice but can't find the words. We speak over everyone else and haven't said a damn thing. The news is delivering our ignorance instant bad guys. Funny how much different they looked on TV. Funny how they edited what they selected for us to see. Funny how we call ourselves free. Funny how we bleed for the powers that be. Human fucking chess. I remember on the 11th morning of September, turning on the news, watching that plane hit over and over, watching that building come down over and over, watching people jump out windows over and over, watching those in the shadows take over, showing Palestinians celebrating, only they aired archive footage from back in the Iraq War, only they forgot about the time difference, only they created more rabbit holes to keep us off their trail. Our nation was angry, desperate, confused, saddened, ready for war. They used this for their benefit. We were going after peasants for the crimes of their government. Our government was going after our citizens. Young adults seized from their homes, interrogated. We voted in laws that sounded like lawmakers cared about us. Laws that would later haunt us. Laws we only read the titles of. These serpents were obtaining more global power. Our government had been training our attackers. Our people were celebrating over the deaths of 1 million foreigners and mourning over 2,000 of ours. It's only acceptable to cry when they tell us to. 20 years ago, we were being divided, conditioned, conquered, distracted, extracted from our shell of freedom. Mentally imprisoned, physically imprisoned. Same way the British had divided many before. Mythmakers writing our story, and we live like we are alive, although so far from it. They've made our victims the boogeyman, only to support the true villains, leading us through years of deceit and heartbreak, spinning the wheel of premature fate of flag wavers, anti-war demonstrators, agitators, patriots, loyalists, racists, humanists. A loved one's death equals bait. Emancipate from their control by turning off the TV and finding someone that they labeled your enemy and getting to really know them. Then coming to understand that strangers on TV were telling us how to feel after they were told what to tell us by others. Mythmakers, government operatives, big business, those with agendas. We can tell this story 1,000 more times and still so many will claim they'd never heard it. Vowed to always remember. Learned to forget. We have been trained to hate the wrong people. We watched actors on TV that bastardize what we should have paid attention to. And here we are, years later, either completely oblivious, thoughtless, or so in tune that we can't stop thinking. We can't stop seeing what they said was never there. We were believing selected truths through edited views through a cracked looking glass of the past. The Patriot Act, a domestic terror act in form of blindfolds, laws, seized liberties, and face mask. The smoke has never cleared. The big picture, a smoke screen filtered by gossip of scandalous celebrities, trendy dinner recipes, and movies delivering their scripts to us, for us to live in their image and destroy ours. Behind bars, stars, and stripes, and Reichs of new world order altered to look like necessary action discussed in secret meetings where new wars are plotted and new leaders are elected before campaigns.
And hold you in the palm of his hand.
20 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, countryman lost, stranger in a strange land. Not what I thought to be true, not the land I once knew. I'm not the man I once knew. Watching demolition of every sacred truth, knowing not a damn thing except we've been lied to, tried to make us hate others that we never knew. Careful not to partake, the next target might be you. Race, religion, party, affiliation, not what makes us us. Television tells a vision what to see. Gave a clear sky the blues, gave a pacifist a gun, gave a desert a blood-red sea, gave someone a reason to go to war, which only created more wars. Looking back, what were we fighting for? Invisible enemies, blind snipers, treated like buffalo, thinning out the herd, which was a threat to occupiers, deniers of new holocausts. Dare not shed a tear across that border. Coyotes run rampant and freedom is scarce. And 20 years ago, we didn't want to believe in the betrayal of our own government. And 20 years ago, we didn't believe in UFOs. Times change, back into past. Look towards the future, but not through their looking glass. Let the rabbit run. Close the door to Wonderland and come home. We don't need another war, and they don't need another trespasser trying to save them through a stranger's tale, for they have their own story. It's time for us to tell our own.
To disarm Iraq, to free its people.
We feel very sorry for the innocent people that were killed in the United States of America. But Iraq has nothing to do with these events at all. Iraq is seeking for peace.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations.
U.S. politicians who lied to continue the war, including Biden and his predecessors, should face criminal charges.
Cell phones become wireless remote controls for obedient servants. A hands-free GPS that will choose your destination for you. One nation should never choose another nation's leader for them. A sheep should never lead a pack of wolves and believe it will be safe. A TV should never tell us what to think of strangers. Those that watch TV believe themselves to be completely informed on foreign situations. They carry the contagion of spreading propaganda. Those refusing to kneel have already taken the knee for another. In a world of presidential puppets, followers, and mad queens, be the dragon and fly free. Fly the flag in disbelief. No one respects it anyways. Look at all those pictures are drawing on it. Never fall so much in love with an idea that you cannot question it. Just the idea of a man will not change the elements, the remnants, the consequence of his previous actions overlooked by his forever faithful followers.
You are being lied to.
If you believe in freedom, then practice it. If there is a question, then ask it. If there's no reception, then learn to decode static. There are no secret societies if they have all been told. There is no more Illuminati since it changed its name once again. Breadcrumbs for parakeets that speak only to repeat another's absurd ramblings. Now, directionless and dependent, relying upon the mercy of he who preys upon them as they pray to him. Beware false prophets. There is a sick game people play. It's called Look the Other Way. Distractions entertain, paint over pain. Close your eyes to genocide. They tell us lies televised, tell us when to laugh or cry, but what about the other side? Everything looks different when it's televised. Everything looks different when it's right before you. We have been conditioned to preach with love yet thirst for blood. A damaged species led by the weak hiding behind the rest of the herd. A diabolical masterpiece, every puzzle piece another civilian casualty. Man, woman, child, no life story, no identity. Sister, mother, brother, lover, just another number. CIA operations, the recruitment of world-renowned terrorists mentally manipulating their own people, and Jim Jones was given just enough time, and Charles Manson just died in prison, and I don't excuse either, and we fight for human rights, and we side with those that violate them, and they say never again, and they make it happen again, and children shot for throwing rocks will always be more of a man than the brainwashed soldier that shot them, and we cry about stores running out of our favorite ice cream, and employees not smiling enough, and we work like slaves and call ourselves elites. We call others savages as we act like savages. A man trying to protect his family murdered alongside them, remembered only as a threat. A man that murders on the highway because another driver failed to signal left. A man argues over the price of beef. Another tries to ration 1 cooler of water for a household of 16. A man goes hungry. On his right, a Wendy's. On his left, a Burger King. Passerbys try not to look, not to listen. Walks a little faster than seeks recognition for public donations to corrupt charities run by hustlers exploiting suffrage. Television sets instructions for the unknowing. If viewers start to ask questions, new movies and scandals, petty stories of name-calling and smear campaigns, politics, the candy, voter, the unwanted fat kid. And some of you will have a problem with that comparison, calling it body shaming, calling it insensitive, failing to see common addiction matched with one's own prejudice, swinging from strings in a land of scissors, walking on eggshells mixed with razor blades, failing life's tests, cheating death by living lives that those that died for us should have had. Betrayed survivors deserve much more than a simple thank you for your service. Speaking of human shields, let's talk about televised persuaders of popular opinion and their millions of viewers ready to kill strangers as a writer's pen gets used as a sword by illiterate simple men and women calling themselves queens, remaking themselves whores. We are but replicas of human beings conjoined to pocket-sized screens, synthetic existence, prosthetic thought, biogenetic strength, defects of thoughtless thinkers, repeaters of talking points, poster children of the post-apocalypse. The after-future is now. Alert to surroundings, vigilant around others, silent around those I don't know. A people empowering the powerless. Many only resist in tweets and on posts. Many only fight with an upvote. Believers used to await the second coming, replaced by one man every 4 years. Lost, forgotten, one of the same. Telling the same story through different timelines, the same promise to be broken, the same point finger forever looming, red and blue game pieces, Democrats for war, Republicans for war, Occupiers unwelcomed. Freedom for who? A high price for protection. Where does this leave the poor? In factories designing freedom's apparel for slave wages. Privatized rainwater. Nestle, Coca-Cola, Cobra.
There isn't a whole lot of difference between farmers over there defending their land and farmers over here defending their land.
Am I or the devil?
Instructed to kill him. Infected by devils. I raised the knife that I had in my hand, and I couldn't put the knife down.
Women walking past me with dried skin of animals wrapped around their feet, similar to head coverings worn by frontiersmen far back in another time. She wears the shadowed ingredients around her eyes that left rabbits a die blind in laboratories, but that's another story.
And rabbits are cut open, injected with chemicals, and killed for a wide variety of experiments.
Children armed with water guns, aiming at every target. ABC, NPR, CNN, Fox, painting bullseye center on thoughts that fall slightly different. The nightly news encourages us to pay homage to bastards, rapists, thieves, and fools. Mythmakers, governors, and mayors plotting out our doom. A Congress we elect will select who dies next. Belt around arm, he injects death. She faded in a stranger's bed as she bled. Some wear chains like some wore ropes around their necks. Their timelines forever drowned in the tides of an unforgiving ocean. With water used to cleanse our skin, biology teachings leave me to believing we are soaking in bloodbaths. Businessmen in same business attire, suit and tie, slacks and dress shoes to impress. The pattern begins as they gather identical to those beside them, trapped in cubicles, wrapped in warped pharmaceuticals. 9 pills a day, 9 lives away. Cats run in circles, chasing their own tails, targeting themselves, marketing their sweetened poison off to someone else, profiting off the sale. A prophet sets sail on a dried up river, standing still. During a voyage where one must keep moving with the wind. Where to begin? I was referred to as him, thrown in a world of masculines, asked to walk the lion's den. I befriended them, made pets out of them, knew of their power, absorbed their strength and courage through a compassionate touch with my open palm. Watch. Businessmen changed birth names to numbers. Statistics created populations. The congregations were being consumed by wild imaginations in a mild setting. The scent of fear released from the innocents was detected by the enemy's malice. Just ask Alice what problems couldn't be solved with solutions as simple as a potion or a small piece of cake. I stay up far too late. Caught in a world taught through an electric box. Eclectic talk. The false idol creator stalks thoughts yet to be offered to God. And through all I saw, God was the only thought I kept thinking, patiently awaiting the next coming of an idea. I see no other come equal. My own brothers come evil. But these people are just people, and they daily live up to the phrase that human makes mistakes, prolonged in such a way that I see it's not a phase. These strangers and temptresses are nothing.
We know that harlot as the whore of Babylon.
Who are you?
That's a long story.
A spirit exposed to electricity. A new drug. What the world needs now is a hero to invade the circuits, intercept feedback, and play back messages over and over until an answer is returned. This culture, snug in the comfort of a New Age coliseum, a gathering of strangers, everybody versus everybody. Unity only comes when a crisis is at hand. And then they began to form groups, searching today for similarities. Yesterday, they were pointing out every difference. Searching yesterday for similarities. Today, they are pointing out every difference. Slow thinkers begin to think about carrying pride in a mysterious heritage they were supposed to be a part of, but in these stories, love was only practiced by victims slain by the hands of men to be remembered as victorious. Is it not so obvious? These savages were never victorious. Their inner demons were alive and well, civilizing continents, colonizing clones, beats into submission, creating a western hell. Warm hearts frozen in the Arctic, drowning in liquid layers of oil as baby seals that survive club beating search for the corpse of their skin-stripped mother. And now, a new man wonders why nature conspires against us with 135-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Staring into the eye of a storm, born to balance the running numbers of these murderers selling skin of an animal. Women treated as an animal sell their skin they're imprisoned in to the same men. Skin trade, slave trade, ran by identical businessmen, setting up stores for women's clothing. Was it not yet obvious? Were the customers ever noticing the swastika-shaped racks at close time? These businessmen share image of a dress code. The pattern begins. A secret code of an organization resurrecting evil dictators. I send prayers to my savior. In the jaws of God, teeth ache with the pain of disbelief, adding and subtracting lives like we were gods. Blame the family dog, but it was man that lost his mind and disobeyed his master all along. I talk improper to the anti-metaphor, down on all fours, carnivores carving into sores of a battered earth. Wounds never heal, open tombs welcome new birth. Death on the first heartbeat, I repeat and repent is an ancient spirit traveling the sound waves in cyberspace. A new culture, refusing to partake in the rechanneling of that which was before. No more war, have we not learned from before? Before, walking on all fours, these carnivores once stood upright, now just down wrong. What happened? What went wrong? Can't see the sun in the beginning of dawn. After Eve, the moonlight makes me see I was plagued by the disgust and insecurities of pedigrees way before me. So hard to believe I was once on my feet. Now it's on and off. The will to crawl, the will to walk. Will I talk these thoughts into existence and be capable of living in a period which will bring an end to this drugged-on sentence? Yes, I am alone, surrounded by 4 walls of brick stone, under a ceiling shortened by a thin layer of styrofoam, electric speakers, air-controlled machines, conditioned, then imprisoned by my surroundings. My new foundings wait outside the glass door, past the sores no longer picked for the pain I took blame for. Allow them to heal. I must allow myself to be real, allow myself to feel the warmth of a heart, the rhythm of its beats, helping me become the world once against me. Universal laws taught thoughts how to talk, thoughts of running before I ever learned to walk. As my mind began racing, I dreamt of flying instead of waiting. The waiting river, shallow, with a message so deep. In sleep, my dreams are fragments of a lost reality. She speaks words out of her lips that kiss my spirit. Soul is in control of a stranger I may never know. I show, I unfold all mystery and bear truth as an existence. These tears are for the truth. These tears are from memories of youth. Memories of you. Traveled so far outside this box, once I was lost, and when I found myself, it was you I lost, the key to get back boxed in. Diversions casted are faded and dim, can't forget when there's nothing to remember. My mind is constructing a new world out of a world I once knew, and when I open my eyes, doors close. Memories of those that still hold my heart that thumps come closer. She beats me into existence.
I had a bad dream.
Don't be afraid.
That was the night everything changed.
Always is always forever. 'Cause one is one is one. Look inside yourself for your father.
Interstate comes along on Claiborne Street, wipes out our businesses.
the park comes along, takes away all our businesses, and what happens to us? We get unemployment.
Carefully balancing on that tightrope between normalcy and insanity, I found peace in life's puzzle. Meditating during fireworks, daydreaming through sunsets. It's as if she never left till I see that empty seat, that empty space. No stars, just invisible people that talk to themselves, trying to reassure themselves that I don't exist. Far from real, gone too far, too lost, too broken. Fixed myself with spare parts from fatal accidents. No longer uncomfortable in my own skin. No longer trying to fit in but get out. Once I was able to love. Sometimes I still lust. And now my thoughts remind my heart of the countless times it was torn apart. Women with hammers broke hearts and kept laughing and wept crying when they got called out. Malnourished, weak men, sedated, slave-traded, unmotivated, no work ethic, no respect, no discipline, no pride, just mice waiting to be led off cliffs by prolific politics, leading rats to another town, then playing their song and collecting another fee. Kinda like chicanery, kinda like what is no, kinda like who is free. Freedom is imagery, hallucinogen, imaginary, a tale that we tell to our children, an idea, a passing thought, now a memory. Chains now shackled to energy, not feet, mentally grounded, physically directionless, numb and affectionless, standing here counting the apparitions on the ceiling, reminding tomorrow of yesterday's memories while losing today. Kool-Aid sneakers and an addict's fairy tales, misquoting Bibles and dissecting feeble minds of easily impressionable runaways, led into believing instruction booklets for cults, fully knowing this is a work of fiction, but going along with it anyways because he no longer wants to be alone. The blind are looking for answers, while the deaf listen to the soundtrack. Why make sense when you can make friends out of clay? Ain't that how it all started anyways? A magic finger snap, an oppressive whip snap, no longer encouraged to tap into that inner psyche and find our God within. Great thinkers with thoughtless jobs, innovators serving MSG at truck stops. Why are we playing Who Are We when we can't see into mirrors anyways? I fell in love with a dream and tried to make it come true through women I never really knew. I couldn't even tell you their last names. First dates became last dates, and in between she made me believe this was a true story, only to be a fictitious piece of illiterate literature. Every stranger, another permanent fixture. Salvation through imagination, coming to the realization that every present was an empty box, every relationship a twisted paradox, building blocks, building thoughts until my mind drew a blank and the devil had it framed. Followers provide direction, madmen call me crazy, freedom fighters bow down to their oppressors. Television, telephone, tell a lie to who they control. And we need to learn to think for ourselves again without being told how to do so by politicians and newsmen we don't really know. You are not alone, but among billions of strangers, and every one of them beholds their own unique interpretation of what we stand for and what we fall for, and who attaches the strings to us, and who communicates with us through varied forms of entertainment, whispering instructions, orders, disorder in the land of the lost, filled with gods unknown and legends forgot. Yeah, though I walk this field of dreams, I hear the screams told through whispers, shown through body language, soon no longer to speak, self-isolated, self-medicated, invisible enemies. We be well-trained schizophrenics, we mimic the other side of the screen, we live only inside the screen, society through the Google Glass, horse vision, obedient disciples, the zero chapter, time to evolve again, to love again, to question every last word.